Let's build a RESTful API with SQLite database. In cargo.toml file, we will add dependencies Tokyo for asynchronous runtime, 30 and 30 JSON for serialized and deserialized JSON data, Axum for the API server, SQLx to connect to SQLite database. Let's go back to main.rs file. First, let's create a function. We use this function to get the connection to the database. So let's create a async function, async f1. Let's give it a name db. Returning type will be the poll. Import from SQLx. Inside of this poll will be SQLite. In this function, let's first create a connector option. So let's create a variable opt equal to, we will call SQLite connector options new function to create a new option. Then let's specify the file name test.db. Then we will add a method create if missing. We give it a boolean value true. So if there is no test.db file in our project folder, it will create a database file named test.db. Then let's create a variable, give the name poll equal to, we will call SQLite pool connector with function. Then we will pass this option as argument, so opt. Then let's call await to handle the filter and unwrap to handle the result. It will return a connector pool to this variable pool. Then let's create a table. So we will call pool.sql method. Then let's write a SQL query. In this query, let's write a create a table if not exists. Let's give it a name users. Let's add a field ID. Let's give it a type integer. Let's give it a primary key. So this ID field will be unique. Then let's add a auto increment. So this ID field will automatically increase. We don't need to insert a value for this ID field. Let's add another field name. Let's give the type text. Let's add a semicolon here. Then we will call await to handle the execute filter and wrap to handle the result. Last, let's return this poll. Then let's create a function. Let's give it a name app. We use this app function to create a Axum router, and we will add a parameter to this function. Let's give it a name poll. Type will be poll SQLite. Returning type will be router. Import from Axum. In this function, let's return a new router. We will call router new function to create a new router. Then let's add a router. Let's add a router path slash. Let's give it a method get. We will import a get method from Axum routing get. Let's pass a sync closure. Let's just return hello in its closure. Let's add another router. Let's give it a path slash list. We will use this router to get all the persons from database users table. So we also give it a method get. Let's pass a handler get person list. So later we will define this handler get person list. Let's add another router. Let's give it a path add person. We use this route to add a new person to the database. So its method we will give it a post. Let's pass a handler add a new person. So later we will define this handler. Let's add a third route. Let's give it a pass person. Then we will create a dynamic parameter ID in curly brackets. So this ID can store dynamic value. So we use this route to get a specific person by this ID. Let's give it a method get. Let's pass a handler, give it a name get a single person. Later we'll define this handler. Let's add another route. Let's give it a pass remove person. Also, we will add a dynamic parameter ID. So we use this ID to remove specific person. We will give it a method delete. We import this delete method from Axum routine delete. Then let's pass a handler, give it a name remove person. Let's add a last route. Let's give it a pass update person. Also add a dynamic parameter ID. So we use this ID to update a specific person. Let's give it a method put. We import this put method from Axum. Then let's give it a handler update person. Later we will define this handler. Last, we will call with state and pass this pull into this with state method. So we can share this database pull across these routes. Let's go to the main function. Let's add attribute toQ main for this main function. So we can turn this main function as a sync function. Let's add a sync keyword for this main function. Then in this function, let's call db function. Let's create a variable to store the pull equal to db.await. So it will return this pull to this variable pull. Then let's create a variable app equal to, we will call app function and pass this pull into this function as argument. Then let's create a listener. So listener equal to, we will call toQ night TCP listener bound function. Let's pass the address 0.0.0.0 port 3000. So this listener will listen on this address. It's localhost 3000. Then let's call await to handle the filter and unwrap to handle the result. Let's call println print out server is running on. We will call listener the local address the unwrap to get the address this listener listen on. Last, in this main function, we will call Axum serve function. We will pass the listener as the first argument and this app as a second argument to serve our server. Then we will call await to handle the filter and unwrap to handle the result. Then let's create a structure. Let's give it a name user. We use this user structure to query data from database. So it will have the same fields as this user's table ID and name. So let's add a field ID. Type will be integer type ISR2. And name type will be string type. So we also need to add attribute derive from row import from SQLx. So we can use this type to query data from user's table. Then let's also add a serialize attribute. So we can serialize the instance of this user structure to JSON data. Let's create another struct type. Struct, let's give it a name user request. We will use this user request to get name value from request, so we will add a field name, give the type of string. Then we need to add an attribute derive. We need to add an attribute deserialize, so we can deserialize JSON data to this user request type. Let's define this getPersonList handler. Here, let's define a sync function -getPersonList. We will add a parameter to this function. Will be state poll. Type will be state poll SQLite. So we can get this shared state poll in this getList handler. Returning type will give it IMPL into response. In this function, let's use this pool to get all the persons from the database. So let's create a variable, give the name rows equal to, we will call SQLx query adds function. Then let's write a SQL select asterisk from users. Then we will call fetchAll method. We will pass the reference of this poll as argument. Then we will call await to handle the filter and unwrap to handle the result. We will add the type annotation for this rows variable. So its type will be vector. Hold the user struct type we defined here. Then let's create a variable, give the name JSON data equal to, we'll call 30 JSON to string pretty function. Then we'll pass the reference of these rows as argument. Then let's call unwrap to handle the result. So it will convert these rows to JSON data. Last, let's write a response status code OK. Then JSON data as a second element. Then let's call into response. Let's create this add a new person handler. So a single function add a new person will add a parameter is this state poll to get the database poll. We will add another parameter will be JSON. Let's give the name in this JSON user request. Type will be JSON. Hold the user request type we defined here. Returning type also will be IMPL into response. In this function, let's call SQLx query function. Then we will insert the data to the users table. So insert into users. We only need to insert the value for this name field. So name and the values. In SQLite, we use question marker with a number as a placeholder for the parameters value. So question marker 1. Then let's call bind method to add a parameter value will be reference user request name. Then let's call execute method, pass the reference poll as argument. Then let's call await to handle the filter and unwrap to handle the result. Last, let's return a response status code OK and new person added into response. Let's create this handler get a single person. So let's define a single function -get a single person. We will add a parameter state poll to get a database poll. Then we will add a parameter pass. Let's give the name ID in this pass. Type will be pass. In its path, we give it an integer type of ISR2. So this ID parameter will get the value from this root of this dynamic parameter ID. Returning type, we give it a IMPL into response. In this function, let's first create a variable rows equal to, we'll call SQLx query as function. Then let's select a asterisk from users. Then we will add a where condition, where ID equal to $1 as a placeholder. Then we call band method, pass this reference ID as a parameter's value. Then fetch all and pass a reference of this pool as argument. Then await to handle the filter and unwrap to handle the result. Then let's give it a type annotation for this rules, whack user. Then let's create a if else block. If this rules length equal to 0, it means there is no person we want to find by this ID. So let's format a message. Let's create a variable msg equal to, we will call format macro, and write a person ID not found. Then we'll pass this ID to replace its placeholder. Then let's send a response, a tuple status code not found, and we'll pass this message as second element. Then into response else, it means there is a person in this rows, so it will be the first element in this rows. So let's get the person from this rows. So let person equal to rows, its index number will be 0. Then let's create a variable, give it a name JSON data equal to, we'll call 30 JSON to string pretty, and pass a reference of this person as argument. So we'll pass this person to JSON. Then let's send a response, status code OK, and this JSON data. Then into response. And we can't move the first user out of this rows, so let's create a reference to first element in this rows. So let's add a % before this rows index number 0. So we can remove this reference in this toString pretty function. Let's remove this. Let's create this remove person handler. So here let's define a sync function. Remove person will add a parameter state pool to get the database pool, then pass ID to get the ID. Return type will be IMPL into response. In this handler, we also need to check whether or not the person of this ID exists in the database. So let's copy the code from its get a single person handler. Here we use this ID to get the person and store in this rows. If this rows length is 0, then it means there is no person in this rows. We can't find the person by this ID, so we just return a message, person ID we not found. If this rows length is not 0, it means we found that person. So let's remove that person from database. We will call SQLx query function. Let's write a SQL delete from users. We will add a where condition, ID equal to $1, then call band method. To band the parameter will be this ID. Then we will call execute. We will pass this reference pool as argument. Then let's call await to handle the filter and unwrap to handle the result. Then let's format a message. Let a message equal to format person ID remove the ID. Then let's pass this message as a response. So MSG. Let's define last handler. It's update person. So here let's define a sync function. A sync hyphen update person. We will add a parameter state pool to get a database pool. Pass ID to get the ID from pass. Then JSON user request to get the name from request. Return type will give it a MPL into response. In this handler body, we also need to check whether or not the user of this ID exists in the database. So let's copy the code from this remove person handler. So if there is no person of this ID in the database, in this if block, we just send not found that person. Else, we find that person. So let's remove this. Let's call SQLx query function. Then we will write a SQL query update users site name equal to $1. Then we will add a while condition ID equal to $2. Then let's call bind method to bind the first parameter will be the new name. So reference user request name. Then we will call bind method again to bind the second parameter will be the reference ID. Then let's call execute method and pass the reference of the pool as argument. Then let's call await and unwrap. Then let's format a message like MSG equal to format micro person ID updated ID, and we will send this message as a response. Here we got an error. It's pass. We need to import its pass from Axum extractor pass. Then we get rid of that error. Let's start our server. In terminal, let's run cargo run. Let's use Postman to test our API. Let's open a new tab. Well, first let's go to the localhost 3000/list, and the method will be get. Let's send this request. We will get an empty vector because there is no person in this database. Let's open a new tab. We will pass a URL localhost 3000 add person. We will change method to post, and here we choose this body role JSON. Let's add a new person in this field. Let's add a name field. Let's give the name Jim. Let's press send. So it will send a response. New person added. Let's add another person. Change the name to Pam. So we add another person. Let's go back to this list. Let's send a request again. This time you can see it will get two person in this list. First one is ID 1, name Jim. Second is ID 2, name is Pam. Let's add a new tab. Let's go to the localhost 3000/person. Let's pass ID 1. Method will be get. Let's send this request. We will get the single person ID is 1, name is Jim. Let's change ID to 2. We will get the person ID is 2, name is Pam. Let's change ID to 3. We will get a response person ID 3 not found because there is no person ID 3 in the database. Let's open a new tab. Let's go to the localhost 3000/remove person. Let's pass ID 1. Let's change the method to delete. Let's send this request. So you can see it will tell us person ID 1 removed. Let's go back to this list. Let's send the request. So you can see this time in this list there only one person. ID is 2 and the name is Pim. Let's open a new tab. Let's go to the localhost 3000 /update person / let's give it ID 2. Let's change this method to put. Here body row JSON. Let's give it a new name field. Let's give it a value Andy. Let's send this request. So it will send a response person ID 2 updated. Let's go back to this list. Let's send the request again. So this time you can see this person ID 2 name changed to Andy. This is how we use Axum with database SQLite to build a RESTful API. Hope to see you next time.